Everybody like my ShamWow headset here? We're going to sell you guys something today. Well, Mikey, after this, you're going to set it up. Let's make sure that this is not one of ours pulling in 5 minutes late. I don't have to throw something at somebody. Mike, you good? We're rolling? All right, guys. So, welcome. Thanks for coming. This has been a minute since I've got to do one of these, about a year and a half. Prior to all the COVID shutdown, some of you guys have done this with me before. I'll do nutrition stuff, a little seminar, every 3-6 months just to kind of answer questions more than anything. That's usually the best way that I've seen that these things go is when I can answer your questions. So as I'm talking through stuff, if you guys have a question today, throw your hand up. Okay, Mike's recording this. We're going to post this like one of our podcasts. Going to get it up on all avenues. Yeah, Mikey? Okay, so it'll be on Apple Podcasts. You just broke your chair. Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. So that way, if there is something that I talk about today and you don't get this down in your notes, you can go back, reference this later. Okay, and there may be something later on down the road. You go, hey, man, I remember Darrell talking about this in the podcast. Maybe I want to know. Or at the seminar, you can go back and watch it. So, nutrition. Nutrition is it's a fun thing to talk about. Okay. For me, because everybody thinks they know a lot about nutrition and everybody's got a really strong opinion when it comes to nutrition. And I say this all the time, and some of you guys have heard me say it before. When I start speaking about nutrition, this is almost like you are arguing religion with somebody, right? People have this strong belief of it's this way and that way and whatever, okay? I'm not trying to upset you with the things that I say today. Okay, so don't get your panties in a bunch. We can discuss things as we go. Again, if you have questions on each topic, put your hands up. So the best, easiest advice I can give you guys on nutrition is to eat whole, real foods. Okay, who's heard me say that before? Okay, a lot of you. Okay, a lot of you. That, to me, means that you are going to eat something, okay, put something in your body that was once alive, whether it be an animal, it be a plant, whatever it is, right? Something that was once alive. If it was made in a factory somewhere, you probably do not want to eat this. And some of you guys have either heard me say it before, or you guys have heard whoever talk about it. It comes from a bag or a box, it's probably not good for you. Okay, these are some pretty simple rules to kind of start with nutrition. When I'm talking about nutrition with people, a lot of people focus on the wrong things. Right? A lot of people think calories are the end-all, be-all, right? Who's counted calories before? Just by a show of hands. Almost every single person here, okay? Counting calories is stupid. And what I mean with that is it's funny because I work, I do nutrition coaching with people, one-on-one coaching with people, and I will have people count their macronutrients, proteins, carbs, and fats, which total up to your total calories for the day. And that does play a part in what you're trying to do. Right? It definitely does. But if you're just counting calories and you're stopping at the drive-thru every day to reach those certain numbers, you're doing it wrong. Okay? When you're choosing your whole real foods, choose them for the micronutrient density of the food, not just the macronutrient density. Okay? Not just for your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. You want to choose your food based off those vitamins and minerals and all the other good stuff that comes from those foods. Okay? Nutrient-dense foods, there's a ton of them out there. A lot of them people go, ooh, God, I don't want to eat that. And you don't have to eat that. You've got a huge, wide range of things that you can eat that are nutrient-dense. Okay? Just because you hear me and Cody talking about eating beef liver doesn't mean that you have to. Okay? But it is really good for you. Okay? Just because you hear me or see me this morning as you guys are walking up to class eating oysters doesn't mean that you have to. Right? There are things that are out there that are nutrient dense that aren't going to gross you out where you go, oh, God, I don't want that. Okay. Back to the calorie thing. Okay. When you are counting calories, a lot of times people miscalculate the amount of food that they're eating in a day. Okay. When you guys were, who was counting calories before? Show of hands again. Okay. When you guys were counting calories, how many of you guys weighed and measured your food? About half the people that said they were counting their calories, right? If you're not weighing and measuring your food, you have no clue. Even if you are weighing and measuring your food, there's still probably a 20% up or down based on what you think you're getting there, okay? So counting calories is not the end-all, be-all. Okay? Again, the way you should be eating should be whole, real foods that are nutrient-dense. Everybody still with me? Okay, any questions so far? Nothing. All right, who wants to talk about nutrient-dense foods? Everybody, right? Everybody's super fired up right now. Nutrient-dense foods. So that's where, Jay, you screw around with stock market and stuff, right? You're always looking for what? The biggest return on investment. It's the same thing with what we're doing with our food, right? I want the most bang for my buck that I can get out of the food that I'm eating. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to talk through proteins, carbs, and fats. Okay, proteins, carbs, and fats. Protein. What does protein do for your body? It helps your muscles repair, right? That's the big one. It helps hormone production, helps all sorts of your cell reproduction in the body, okay, cell repair. So what is the best type of protein you can eat? And you'll get arguments from people on one side, on the other side. Your vegans will tell you it's plant protein. They're stupid. We don't listen to them, okay? I tell you it's beef, okay? I'm slightly joking about that, okay? I'm not a vegan. I don't believe in it, okay? That's that one religion that I don't believe in. I think it's dumb, okay? But if you eat that way, you feel good. Hey, more power to you. Beef, to me, is probably the best source of protein that you can get. Why? You're getting good quality protein with the most micronutrient density that you can find. Right? You're getting a lot of B vitamins, iron, okay? Who's heard this stuff before? Some of you guys probably have when I've talked to you before. Some of you guys may have heard it outside of here. So beef, fish, okay, all fantastic. Next one down, probably be chicken, turkey, some pork, okay? All good things to eat. Hey, that's where you want to be consuming your protein for the most part. Eggs. Who here eats eggs? Okay. Who does not? How's that? Okay. Why not? Don't like them? Just never gravitate towards them? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Like how many is too many? You're fine. You're fine. Okay? Yeah, 2 a day. I myself personally, I just realized in the last 6 months that I'm allergic to eggs, and I've been crushing eggs my entire life. Like, when I say crushing eggs, I'm talking about eating 6 to a dozen a day. Right? What's that? No, I cook them, though. I cook them. So those are kind of some sources of your proteins, right? Good proteins for you. Now, I'll get to carbohydrates in a second because everybody's got questions on carbs always. Your sources of fat, right? Where should I be getting fat from things that are nutrient dense? Avocados, okay? Nuts in moderation, right? That's one that gets real dicey because everybody's like, oh yeah, I had some cashews. How many? 6 cups. Like, talking like maybe a quarter cup. Like, it is a good serving. I said avocados, avocado oil, olive oil, good olive oil, okay? Coconut oil, that animal fat that you're getting, your eggs, butter, like a good grass-fed butter, all good fats. All good fats, okay? Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. What are some nutrient-dense carbohydrates? Vegetables, fruits. Those are probably the 2 best things, right? 2 best things for you. Now, when I say vegetables and fruits, that could be starchy, non-starchy. Okay? Starchy meaning potatoes, sweet potatoes, things like that. Okay? With all the other vegetables, any and all, you're going to get a ton of micronutrients from that stuff. Okay? From your fruits. Eat them all. They're all good for you. Now, yes. What about cheese? I'll come back to the dairy in a second. With the fruits and the veggies, okay? Veggies are really hard to overeat. Right? They're really hard to overeat. Now I'm talking the non-starchy kind. What? I'll get there in 2 seconds. So, with the veggies, they're really hard to overeat, right? The non-starchy. Now, potatoes are kind of easy to overeat. And I'm not talking about the ones that are diced up, fried in a deep fryer at McDonald's, okay, or Wendy's, or the Habit. Okay, I'm talking about real good cooked potatoes. Okay, those things do add up, and they add up fast to an overabundance of carbohydrate. The other stuff's kind of hard. Okay, kind of hard to overeat. Okay, even fruit. I always say do fruit with a little bit of moderation. 2, maybe even 3 pieces a day. Who could honestly eat 3 servings of fruit a day here? 3 big apples. Okay? Yeah. Now, you go to a 4th, that's going to be kind of pushing it, huh? Right? You're starting to go, oh, God, that's kind of a lot. You may feel that the next morning. Okay? Now, we had a question about the vegetables. Vegetables, should you eat them raw, should you eat them cooked? To me, it kind of depends on the vegetable. And they have different benefits depending on which vegetable. And I'm not going to go through the whole list, but some vegetables, cooked, allows you to absorb more of the micronutrients that are within that vegetable. Spinach is a good one. There's certain things that you get from spinach when it's cooked. Your body's going to absorb more of those micronutrients. All right? So it just kind of depends. Eat them both ways. Right? I ain't picky. Right? Just as long as you're eating some. Okay? Now, we had a question about dairy. The stuff that I was listing off of your proteins, carbs, and your fats were kind of the most nutrient dense, right? The things that we're going to get the most out of. Dairy, to me, is a okay source of protein and fat. It's not optimal, right? I was talking kind of your optimal stuff, right? The stuff that's kind of middle of the road, okay, some dairy. Some hard cheeses, full-fat yogurt, things like that, good stuff. But it's not something that I would base my diet around. Okay? Any questions so far? All right. Straight up milk. I have mixed opinions about milk. So for me personally, what I recommend to most people, and it kind of depends on what your goals are. If your goal is to get bigger, drink milk. Right? Who do we give milk to? Kids, right? Why? You want them to get bigger and stronger, right? And grow. Right? To me, as an adult, I don't really want to drink milk unless my goal is to get bigger. If you're a power lifter, right? You can go the Gomad Diet. You ever hear the Gomad? You have. You and I have talked about it before. It's where you eat your normal diet, but you drink a gallon of milk a day. Just for the extra calories to put on size. Okay? Now, again, depends on what your goals are. Okay? Any other questions on anything that I've said so far? Yes? Do you need to eat fruit? No. You don't. You don't like it? Don't eat it. No worries. No worries. You have plenty other sources of food and options out there to get those micronutrients. Okay? Anything else? Yes? Banana, apple versus berries. Types of fruit. What are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish? What does the rest of your diet look like? Right? There's a lot of factors that go into that. When I choose fruit, I'm going to grab something that is not going to spike my blood sugar levels super high and then drop them super low. That's kind of what I go for with everything that I'm picking, right? Even in times when I do, I mean, most of you guys know the way I eat. I eat fairly low carbohydrate. But even during times when my carbs are higher, I pick things that aren't going to spike me up, spike me down, because that's going to screw with my blood sugar levels, my hunger, and all that stuff. I stay away from bananas personally, right? Me, I eat berries, maybe an apple occasionally, maybe an orange occasionally. That's about it. You know, that I kind of stick to that step. If I can get my hands on watermelon, I'll crush some watermelon. Right? Just depends on the time of the year. I don't like eating watermelon that's not in season. Okay? Whatever. Again, just because it goes to sugar content. That's why I kind of avoid the bananas. That kind of spikes those blood sugar levels up and drops them back down. Okay? But again, it kind of depends on you personally, right? Everybody kind of responds differently to this stuff, right? And that's where nutrition is a hard thing for people because everybody thinks, well, okay, it has to be this one way for everybody. Each and every one of you is going to be different. You're a special little snowflake, right? Tyler's like, yeah, I like that. I'm a snowflake. I know, your mom's been lying to you for years. So everybody's different, right? Everybody's different. So the way, say like low carb, the way I respond to low carb and the way Andy does, complete opposite ends of the spectrum. All right? What else? What else? You guys are firing questions. That's good. That's what I want. I want to answer your questions. Yes? Oof. Are you serious? Yeah, you're probably fine. It doesn't have a ton of sugar in it, right? She had a question about oat milk. She puts a little bit of oat milk in her coffee. Is that okay? Sure. Just as long as it's not like loaded with sugar and you're just getting true oat milk, that's fine. Okay? Anything else? Nothing. Okay, everything that I said so far has been pretty basic, right? Okay, some pretty generalized nutrition stuff. What I want to do now is start getting into some of the questions that you guys had, okay? As we go through that stuff, we're going to start to expand on that stuff a little bit more too. You guys had a ton of questions. That's good. Okay? So, first, I'm just going to go down the list. Good carbs, bad carbs. Who asked the question about good carbs and bad carbs? So, I semi-answered that a couple seconds ago, right, about nutrient density from the carbohydrates that you're eating. Now, what are good carbs and bad carbs? To me, bad carbs are things that are just loaded with sugar, right? Like that processed crap. If you're eating cereal out of a box, stop, right? Cereal, probably not the best thing for you. Candy bars, bad carbs, right? Soda, bad carbs. Anything that's processed sugar, to me, is bad carbohydrate. Okay? Yeah. Get rid of it. You got a garbage can at home? Put it in there. Put it in there. Again, we're going bag to box, you know, and like, to me, cereal is one of those things. You look at your cereal, and most of them are made, the first ingredient in them is what? Wheat, right? Wheat spikes the hell out of your blood sugar, up and down. So if you're eating bread, pasta, cereals, things like that, your blood sugar levels are probably up and down, right? You probably get energy crashes throughout the day. You probably feel good, and then I'm really hungry. I feel good, I'm really hungry. You get this up-down thing going on. Spikes blood sugar. That wants you to, that in your brain is going to tell you, I need more of that shit. Right? When we get that with the blood sugar levels going up and down, your body's going to respond to that like it needs it. It craves it. Okay? So that's why I say avoid stuff like that. To me, that's bad carbohydrates. Right? That's bad carbohydrates. Yes, Steve? What about granola? What type of granola are we talking? Are we talking just like a regular basic granola that you find, or are we talking something that is made of more nuts and seeds? We're talking something that's made of more nuts and seeds and something that's slightly healthy, like the one that we were talking about from Big Store, Costco the other day. That's pretty good. Check your ingredients on it. What are your ingredients that are in that granola? That's what it comes down to, right? I can go over and get granola at the store, and it could be this, super fancy granola, and there's a ton of just sugars and, brown sugar and all sorts of other stuff in there that's going to make it taste really good. It's probably not going to be the best thing for me. Everybody thinks granola, they think great. Same thing with like oatmeal, right? Everybody thinks oatmeal is going to be the best thing in the world for me. Oh, I've seen a lot of oatmeal that's got a lot of fillers and a lot of crap and a lot of sugar in it. Cool. What's that? I'm pretty sure you do too. Yeah, Jay. Yeah. Yeah, I am talking about oatmeal, right? People eat it for breakfast. Yep. Yes, it can. And And it can. And it kind of depends on the person and what the rest of the day looks like, right? Yeah, if I'm starting a day with oatmeal, for me personally, I've done oatmeal different times throughout my life. And I'm kind of one of those carb sensitive people. Oatmeal is one of those that people are like, well, it's a slow burning carbohydrate. You don't get a lot of blood sugar levels up and down. For me, I eat oatmeal an hour and a half later, I'm fucking starving. Like, I want to crush everything in the house. To me, that's not a good sign. To me, that's my blood sugar level going up, going down. I'm like, oh my God, I need to eat. If you've never met Hangry Darrell, you do not want to. He is not a pleasant person. He is not as cheery as the one that you get here coaching you all the time. Okay? Now, any other questions on anything I've said so far? Okay, so the good carb, bad carb thing. To me, again, those bad carbs are going to be something that's kind of filled with sugar, processed crap. If you're eating anything with like the high fructose corn syrup, things like that, bad news, kids. Bad news. Okay? That kind of answer it? Yeah? Yeah. Are there pastas that are healthy? Brands, I can't tell you, Steve. Now, for me, like what I do with pasta, instead of having pasta, I make zucchini noodles. That's a great option, right? Another one that I'll do, and it's kind of a pain in the ass to do at home, you can get them at Trader Joe's, is make sweet potato noodles, right? That's a real good option also. But yeah, I mean, even like a lot of the gluten-free pastas, it kind of depends on how your body responds to that. I've had some of the rice pastas, right, where I use, and it's going to sound weird, and I can touch on this a little bit more later. I use rice as a supplement during times of hard training because rice is going to spike my blood sugar levels, but I use it when I want it to restore glycogen. And I know it's getting a little bit deeper there. And there are good rice pastas that I've had, white rice pastas, not brown rice, that my body absorbs and processes well. But again, it does give me a blood sugar level up and down. But again, I use that during really hard times of training. Does that answer? Cool. Anything else on the good carb, bad carb? Nothing. All right. Reintroduction of foods. So this was asked. We had Andy do the Whole30, right? Started out, did the Whole30. If you guys don't know what that is, I can explain it in a second. Andy did the Whole30, all right? Whole30, basically you eliminate a lot of the stuff that I was talking about as far as like the bad foods go. You eat good foods for the most part. The only thing that Whole30 says is okay that I strongly disagree with is canola oil, vegetable oils. If you're eating that stuff, guys, stop. Okay? And we can get into that more later. But when you do the Whole30, you're eating, your meat, you're eating what? You're eating veggies, you're eating some fruits, you're eating potatoes, you're getting away from the gluten, rice, corn, right? Things like that. When you start, no dairy also, right? Yeah, so when you start to reintroduce stuff, how do you reintroduce? Small, little reintroductions, meaning one thing at a time, right? If you change 3 things, and then all of a sudden you have some sort of adverse reaction to it, how do you know what caused it? You don't, right? So what I say is, all right, if I'm going to reintroduce, say, hard cheese, I'll have a piece of cheddar 3 days in a row, and if I feel okay, my digestion is good, my energy levels are okay, probably all right, right? And again, when you reintroduce one thing, don't overdo it. Right? You're like, I'm going to reintroduce cheese, so let's go have fondue. No. Right? Small reintroductions. Okay? Questions on anything there? Nothing that kind of hit it? Yes. Huh. Good. Is it weird that makes me happy? Okay, so we talked about the reintroduction. Andy had a question also about stalling out or plateauing, right? So let's use the Whole30 example. If I'm doing the Whole30 and I hit a point where I start to plateau, okay, number one, I want to look at a few different things. I want to look at, because the Whole30 is cool because it kind of tells you like types of foods to eat, and it's a great place to start. If you've never done it and you're looking for a place to start start with the whole 30, it's 30 days. Great place to start. After that, another thing about the whole 30 that's kind of funky is they don't really have anything that talks about quantity control, how much food you were eating in a day. Okay? Now, when you're stalling out, most of the time, and take this with a grain of salt, but most of the time it's not from overeating protein. It's from either overeating carbohydrates or fat. Those levels are kind of too high. So we need to kind of bring those down somewhere. Right? And again, like I said, calories aren't the end-all be-all. But if you're at a stale point, something's got to give somewhere. Right? I've probably got to remove a little bit of something, take something away. Right? Now, when you are doing that, you're trying to lose weight or drop body fat. This is where I see people make mistakes all the time is if you're at a place of homeostasis, right? If I'm hanging out, I eat 3,500 calories a day, and that's where I'm kind of hanging out. And I need to reduce the amount of food that I'm taking in. Where people screw this up a lot is they go from 3,500 calories down to 2,000. Is that a big drop? Yeah. For me personally, the way I like to attack something like that is I'm going to go from 3,500 down to 33. A small decrease. If my body will allow me to start decreasing my body fat or my weight, if I'm reducing weight, I want to do it from the smallest reduction of calories possible. That way I can do it over a longer period of time. Because what your body's really smart, right? Your body's really smart. If I take that 3,500 and I drop down to 2,000 calories, over time, my body's going to get used to 2,000 calories. So now, where's that stalemate going to come? At 2,000 calories, right? As a man who works out and chases kids around, works a full-time job, fairly active, right? Even though with work you sit, still a fairly active dude. I don't know if you've tried to live on 1,500, 1,600 calories, but I want to blow my brains out at that point. Right, so the longer I can take that reduction, the better. Meaning the smaller drops I can make. That makes sense? Okay. That kind of until you stop losing. So usually, and when I say until you stop losing, you shouldn't be losing weight every single day. Right? You shouldn't. You should be dropping in a healthy way anywhere from a half a pound to 2 pounds a week. That's for most people. Now, that all depends on where your starting point is, where your goal weight is, how much you have to lose, activity levels. Some weeks you have higher activity, lower activity. There's a lot of factors there. So I'm just kind of throwing rough numbers out. Now, you reduce that. You're losing weight. Don't change anything until you stop losing weight. And how long? Well, if I stalemate for about 2.5 weeks, usually about 14 days, right? If I'm at that stalemate point, now I can drop a little bit more off. Make sense? Any more questions on that? Nothing. All right. Let's move on. Cravings. Who asked my cravings question? Hey. Cravings. And why do we have them? Okay, so we can talk a few different things about this. What do you crave? Is it sugar? Cheese? What else? Jay just whispered something else to you. What else? Okay, so fat, sugar. Let's start there. Okay, cheese is fat, right? For the most part, that's probably what you're craving. Craving sugar, craving fat. Let's start with the sugars. So most people that crave sugar, number one, it's for a couple different reasons. You're probably eating too many carbohydrates. Well, or the wrong kinds of carbohydrates, right? A lot of times when you crave sugar, it's because you are doing that up and down thing I was talking about earlier with your blood sugar levels, right? Where your body gets some, it's on this high, then it drops down. Now it says, give me more. Right? For most people, that's the problem. Okay? Now, another thing too, and this is something that people kind of go, huh? A lot of times when your body craves sugar, it actually needs salt. Actually need salt. How do salt and sugars play off of each other? Okay, sugars are what? They're a carbohydrate, right? And their simplest form is carbohydrate. What do carbohydrates do? They hydrate, right? They hydrate your body. What does salt do? Try that again. Other hydrates, right? If you have a lot of salt, what's your body do? It hangs on to water, right? Hangs on to water. We need salt. That's okay. It's a good thing. It may just be that you need some salt. And when I say salt, have good salt. Don't, not like salt packets. Redmond's real salt. Who's heard me talk about Redmond's real salt before? If you haven't, guys, get on that train. Redmond's real salt is awesome stuff, right? Ton of minerals in it that are great for you. But yeah, that could be it. I would guess one of those two things. Okay, and a lot of times a sugar craving, if you are craving sugar and you're like, oh my God, salt's not doing the trick. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll take a quarter teaspoon, not tablespoon, quarter teaspoon of salt, good salt, throw it under the tongue, then wash it down with some water, and that sugar craving's going to go away. Now, if that doesn't work, and you're like, oh my God, I'm fiending for sugar, like give me something, have a piece of fruit. If you don't want the fruit, have something like a sweet potato. Okay? That'll probably help. That cool on the sugar part? Anybody have questions on that part? Yeah. So, yeah, that's going to have sodium in it, right? Andy was asking about electrolyte powder. We were talking, there's LMNT, LMNT, Rob Wolf. If you guys don't know Rob Wolf, keto, paleo Rob Wolf, it's his electrolyte supplement. I started taking the unflavored ones when I was doing my long races, my long 6-hour runs. And I started using those as a supplement then. Well, Rob Wolf, that dirty bastard, came out with one, and it's a chocolate flavored one, so it's like chocolate sea salt. Put it in my coffee in the morning, it's delicious. And that will give you some of that sodium. Kind of kills. Amazon. Same. Yep. Yeah. Anything else on the sugar stuff? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You're going to go through about 3 or 5 days of hell. Yeah, so, and I use this loosely, so I chewed tobacco for 13 years, for those of you guys that don't know that, right? I chewed, and it took me a long time to give that up, right? It was hard. I went back and forth with it. If you've never quit smoking or quit chewing, it sucks. Okay, anybody else gone through that? I know Ty, I know you have, Max, hey, Leslie, you have, Steve, you have. It sucks, right? It's a pain in the ass. And I know, when I say I chewed for 13 years, I wasn't like, oh, throw in a dip. I was chewing about a can and a half a day. Yeah, you did not see me without a dip in my mouth. So for me to give that up was rough. Right? It was rough. I went through withdrawal symptoms, bags under the eyes, sleep kind of sucked. Again, you didn't get the cheery Darrell that you guys get on the daily basis. Right? It was really, really hard. And I went through it with the gums, and I went through it with the patches. And finally, my wife said, hey, I'm pregnant. And I said, that kid's never going to see me with a dip in my mouth, and I quit. That week that I quit, where I really stuck to it, I was pissed. Had all these withdrawal symptoms I was talking about. When I gave up sugar a few years later, right, and started kind of playing around with different things in my nutrition, I had those same symptoms, just on a smaller level. I wasn't super pleasant, that's for sure. Right? So I was having some of those same symptoms with those withdrawal symptoms, right? And it's just different levels of it, right? Who here has done the ditching the sugar thing and gone through symptoms like that, where you're irritable, you're kind of testy, a little shaky, right? Sucks. You're giving something up, and your brain, your body, it's an addiction. It's an addiction. like nicotine or drugs or alcohol or anything like that. It's an addiction. Your body's going to go through withdrawal symptoms. It's just on different levels. You're not going to go through it like a crackhead giving it up, but you're going to have some of those symptoms. Okay? That answer it? Okay, cool. Cool. So the cravings for fat. The cravings for fat. Yeah. What up, Chris? Yeah, suck it up, Buttercup. Just do it. Yeah, suck it up. Now, is there a way to ease into it is what she said. So there is, for sure. And you can play that game of the gradual reduction. Okay, you definitely can. For most people, that doesn't work. Right? For most people, trying to gradually reduce or whatever, it's like a cokehead, man. You ever know somebody who's addicted to drugs? Yeah? Yeah, me too, right? What happens with them? If you have somebody that you know that's addicted to drugs, and you're like, hey, man, instead of that 8-ball today, we're going to cut that in half. You only get half the 8-ball. In 3 weeks, are they still going to be addicted to drugs? Yeah. Right? Cut it off. Cut it off. High sugar. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anything else? Anything else? All right. Talking about the craving cheese, craving the dairy. A lot of times, and again, it depends on what the rest of your diet looks like. If you're craving the sugar and the fat, your diet's probably fucked up. Right? Your diet's probably fucked up. You're probably eating too much of both. Now, if you're eating on a lower carbohydrate scale and you're craving the fat, you probably need more fat. Anybody ever crave peanut butter? Like, not just because, like, oh, yeah, I really want peanut butter. But you're like, fuck, I need, like, peanut butter just sounds better than anything else. Your fats are probably too low. Right? Same thing with the dairy. Your fats are probably too low. You probably need more fat. Right? We'll talk about low carb here in just a second. But who's done a low carb diet before? Okay, cool. That's just for my own. Okay, cool. Now, with the fat intake, before I get into low carb, are fats bad for you? And we talked about good carb, bad carb, right? Let's talk good fat, bad fat. Are fats bad for you? No. And a lot of people get it in their head that they are. Right? And a lot of people think that, like, to lose weight, that fat has to be the thing that comes down. It doesn't have to be that way. Yeah, that's why low-carb diets, you see, how many people do you know that have been successful on a low-carb diet? You probably know somebody. You probably have before, right? Keto, low-carb. And don't tell me you've done keto because I guarantee you haven't. You've probably done a modified version of it, okay? Now, fats are good for you. And the reason why I want to say that, just so it's out there, is I've seen people do the reduction of calories, whatever, and they always want to reduce fat, right? And I see them really screw up their hormone profile, right? Like, I've seen women that have come to me after working with other nutrition coaches or just trying to figure stuff out on their own. They're like, hey, yeah, like, I hit a point where I plateaued, my energy level sucked, and I haven't had my period in 6 months. It's not normal. That's not normal. Or if you're a dude who's 30 years old and you come to me, you're like, yeah, I started to get shredded. I was dropping my body fat, but I haven't had an erection in 5 months. We got a problem. Right? Because that's the things that are going to happen when you reduce those fats way too much. Right? It's going to start to fuck with your hormone levels. Right? So if you are playing that calorie game or macronutrient game where you're trying to drop stuff to reduce and decrease body fat, decrease your weight, beware, you don't want to drop those numbers too low. Okay? I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, I hit the cravings thing. Anybody have questions before I move on? Okay, so low carb. Okay, that was kind of my lead in here. Low carb and energy levels. I'll get to the energy levels here in a second. The low carbohydrate. Now, Low carb. There's a lot of different ways to talk low carb. The hot one is everybody always wants to talk keto, right? Everybody, who's got a buddy who tells them that, hey, I'm doing keto right now? Everybody here. Everybody here knows somebody who tells you that they're doing keto. If you have a friend who's doing keto and they go out drinking one day a week, your friend's a fucking liar. If you have a friend who says they're doing keto and they have a cheat meal once a week where they have french fries or something else, they're a fucking liar. A true ketogenic diet, the true ketogenic diet is 80 to 90% fat, right? You have proteins and you basically have zero carbohydrate. That's a true clinical ketogenic diet. That works great for neurological disorders and things like that, but for most people walking around, probably not the best thing for you. Now, what most people typically do is like a modified version of keto, where they're at like 65% fat, 30% protein, and like 5% carbs. Cool. Awesome. Call a spade, though, right? Where we want to call it what we're doing. Don't call it true keto because that's not what you're doing, right? Or if you are that person who is having success, losing weight, and you're doing that low carb thing, and one day a week, yeah, you have a couple glasses of wine or whatever, but you're still successful, then tell people that's what you're doing. Don't tell me you're doing keto. Right? Now, with the low carb thing, does it work? Sure. Sure, it works if you can stick to it and it's something that you like. Right? And that's kind of the thing with any type of diet that you do. Whether it's like a Whole30-ish type thing that we're doing, whether it's keto, it's high carb, you're doing the Cheerio diet, you're doing a cabbage soup diet. These are real things. If you're doing South Beach, whatever, right? Can you stick to it? Do you feel good doing it? Right? That's the first thing you look at. If you try this low carb thing now, I will tell you this from experience. When you first start doing a lower carbohydrate, what are we doing? We're pulling sugars out. So what are you going to do? You're probably going to be pissed off if you've never done something like that before. It's not going to feel good for a few weeks. Right? But after, say, 3 or 4 weeks of doing this, you should kind of be into what you're doing. And after 3 or 4 weeks, if you still don't feel good, you might want to reevaluate what you're doing there with the low carbohydrate thing. Okay? Now, energy levels were talked about in relation to the low carb diet. Energy levels take a little bit of time to balance out when you switch over. Why? Because you're going through the cravings, you're going through that withdrawal type stuff. It takes a while. It takes your body time to, usually when you go low carb, and you don't have to be in ketosis, nutritional ketosis, for it to be beneficial. But most times your body's just going to naturally get there, where your body starts converting, starts using ketones and fat for energy instead of carbohydrate. I'm going to hold my thought for a second because we got a motorcycle coming through here. Just park it, bro. Just park it. All right, so it takes a little bit, and that comes back to like the withdrawal thing, right? It takes you a while for your body to know, okay, hey, we're not using sugars, glycogen as our main energy source anymore. Now I'm going to use fat. And a lot of times, you know, you have that little bit of a period where it's that takes a little adaptation, right, to do that. A lot of people during that time will see their strength decrease a little. They'll see their, say, endurance decrease a little bit before it goes back up, right? And there's a guy, Zach Bitter. You know, anybody heard Zach Bitter before? No, he's a super endurance athlete, ultra type guy, right? Like 200-mile running races type of thing. And he is, for the most part, he's a carnivore. Right? Meat, only eats animal foods and fats. Right? And he talks about like that adaptation period. So it takes a little time. It takes a little time and takes a little bit of adjustment for your body to get used to that. Also, too, if your energy levels are just the shits when you are making that transition, your fats just may be too low. Like your fat intake should be higher than what you think it is when you're on a low-carb diet. When I say low-carb, I'm talking low-carb, right? Under 50 grams of carbs a day type of thing. Because to me, that's kind of where that falls, right? That kind of answer it. Okay. All right, so on that note, we'll see what people think here. Do you need carbohydrates to be a highly functional human being? Meaning to be able to have a strong energy output through workouts and life. Who thinks you need carbs? Okay, some of you do. Some of you do. Okay, cool. Just curious. Curious on your thoughts on it. You don't need them. You need fat or you need carbs. Okay, both of those things are your energy sources. Right, to me, I think that it's kind of dumb to totally eliminate one and not the other. Like I was talking about the fats being too low. You drop them too low, you're just beating yourself up. To me, it's kind of the same thing with carbohydrates. I think carbs should be one of those things that you utilize. And I've talked about this before, and everybody laughed. Mike laughed at me the first time I said it on one of our podcasts, was I use carbs as a supplement. I said I use carbs, and Mike's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You use carbs. They use them as a supplement. I use them to help myself repair from and feel better from my workouts and get those micronutrients. I use them. Use them as a supplement. Right? I don't use them as the main driving source of my energy. A lot of that comes from fat. Right? But I use those carbs. Time them out properly. Okay? Questions on that? Nothing. Fantastic. Water. Who had my water question? Vicky, water. How much water do you need a day? Take your body weight, cut it in half, at least that much, in ounces. That's a great start. Now, depending on what you're doing, how much you're sweating, how much you're moving throughout the day, you may need to bump that level up. That's a really good starting point. Yeah, still hit that half of your body weight in ounces. So you weigh about $180 right now, right? Drink at least 90 ounces, right? And when do you drink it? Space it out throughout the day. I always say start your day with water before anything else. Why? Because you just came off hopefully an 8-hour fast, right, where you're sleeping. What happens when you fast your body? Still, you're not sweating. Well, sometimes you sweat in your sleep. If you're like me, you run hot and you sweat in your sleep for sure. But your body's going to get rid of water as you sleep, right? First thing you want to do, restore some of that. Yeah, bub. Uh-huh. Okay, so drink some more water. Drink some more water. That helps every single function within your body. From repair, growth, sleep, hormones, everything. Yeah. It wouldn't be 2.5 gallons. It might be a gallon. Might be a gallon. Yes. If you drink more coffee, do you need to drink more water? I always say if you drink coffee, drink a little bit more water. Why? Because it's got caffeine in it. Now, there's debate on this that some people say caffeine's going to dehydrate you and make you lose excess amounts of water, right? So you need to kind of balance it out. I always say if you have a cup of coffee, drink an extra cup of water. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Sparkling water or mineral water? Okay, sparkling water or mineral water? True sparkling water or mineral water? Or are we talking like, what's that? Plain Pellegrino? Fantastic. I've seen the Pellegrinos that have orange in them and about 40 grams worth of sugar in there, and it's a fucking soda at that point. Yes. Yes, there's definitely such thing as too much water. Okay, now, so when you pee, is your pee supposed to be clear? You got a yes? Anybody else? Yes, yes, yes. Who says yes? Who says no? Who says I don't know? You should have a light tint to it. If you are peeing clear, you're pissing everything out. Should be a light little tint of color. Now, on the opposite end of that, if you're peeing bright yellow or brown, get to the hospital. go to the hospital, especially if it's brown. And this is kind of a joke, but kind of not. If you start peeing anything that's like a brownish color, you're in trouble. Okay, you need to go to the hospital, right? And it could be different reasons, but your kidneys are probably starting to fail at that point. Okay? And if you work out really intensely and really hard and you start to pee that color, you might have rhabdo setting in. That is not a joke. Rhabdomyolysis? Yeah. Yeah, that had rhabdo? Yeah, it's pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. Happens to a lot of former athletes when they start training really hard again and their body just starts breaking down everywhere. So, any other questions on water? On water. Okay. Counting macros. Who had my counting macros question? Okay, counting macros. So I know I've kind of touched on it here and there throughout so far, but counting macros is always a good place to just kind of figure out where you are with your food intake, right? And like I said, calories and macros are not the end-all be-all, but it's good to know how much food you're taking in, right? And you can't just track for a day or two and know, right? A lot of people that I've done nutrition with over the years, I have them track at some point, right? Okay? And I have them track usually for about a month minimum, just so we can get a rough idea of where they're falling with the amount of food. Because if your goal, like I said, is to decrease, and you're taking in that 3,500 number I was talking about before, we want to know if we need to reduce somewhere or add somewhere if your goal is to gain. Okay? So when you count macros, the best way to do that is weigh and measure your food. All right? Most people don't have the eyeball test. That's about 4 ounces of protein. Okay? Why I went like this is usually the palm of your hand is about 4 ounces of protein. Okay? Most people don't have that. Most people, that's about 4 ounces, and it's about 2 of those. All right? Weigh and measure. That's the best way. Right? And it's not something you have to do forever. Right? For a lot of people, weighing and measuring, like, drives them nuts. Right? But weighing and measuring your food is probably the most accurate way that you're going to be able to figure out your macronutrients. All right? Now, did that answer what you needed, or we want to go further with? Okay. Anybody have questions on counting macros? No hands popping out of the shirt over there? Okay. Sugars. Who had my sugars roll in the body? Who had the sugars roll? Is that Ty? Okay, so sugars are carbohydrates, right? And I think we kind of talked about the sugars roll in the body, right? Or carbohydrates roll in the body. It's an energy source. It's an energy source, right? So fats, carbs, energy sources. They got to come from one or the other. Okay? Now, sugar. Are we talking like candy sugar, or are we talking like carb sugar? Just carbs. Okay. So carbs do a lot of different things. And like I said, it's number one, it's an energy source, right? And it's going to help to restore glycogen in your muscles, right? Bring the sugar and the blood and the water and all the stuff back in, right? That's why, like, when I say I use carbohydrates, I use them around my workouts, right? Where I'll use that, and I don't want to say sugar because I don't want you guys to get the idea that I'm like pounding a Milky Way after I work out, but I'll have that white rice after I work out to help the repair and drive nutrients to my muscles and to my body to repair faster. Does that make sense? Right? Cool. How many times a day are you talking? Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. I mean, that's not an overabundance of calories, right? Now, if you're having that, but you're also doing like high fat, then we got a problem, right? Because that's usually where the problem comes in. If I have high fats and high sugars, that's the deadly combo. If your carbs are middle of the road, your fats are middle of the road, you're probably fine. right? When that goes kind of back to the macronutrients, right? There is no exact macro breakdown where I can go 30% here, 40% there, 30% here that is going to be across the board good for everybody, right? I've seen people with different macro profiles where something works. Now, a good place to start is just kind of a balance with all three, right? If I'm eating an even amount of each, it's a good place to start. And then you kind of adjust as you go. Make sense? Yeah? Did that answer it, bub? Okay. Any other questions on that? Yeah, bud? Yeah. Overall percentage of food consumption. Yeah, so that's going to be different, right? Proteins and carbs will be the same number, right? Say 180, like your body weight, right? And then the fat be about half that, right? That makes sense? So 85, 90, what? Like I said, 180 grams of protein, 180 carbs, 85 fat, 90 fat, right? Total that up, gives you calories, right? Cooking with sugar. Is that you, Heather? What did you want to know, Ben? All right, well, let's talk the type of sugars, number one, right? If it's calling for like granulated sugar or brown sugar, I probably wouldn't use it. That's just me. Now, again, it kind of depends on how you eat outside of just that one little ingredient within that one recipe that you're eating. Now, if you're eating even a small amount of carbs and you're adding some honey to a recipe, it's probably not the worst thing in the world. But adding brown sugar, different. Your body kind of metabolizes, processes that a little bit different. Like, I don't know about you, but I can eat honey in my diet on a small quantity and be okay. If I start eating sugar, like true sugar, like even mixing like sugar in my coffee or mixing or having half a candy bar, where am I going to get a craving? From the candy bar, like the true sugar, right? Adding a little bit of honey to a recipe, unless we're going like a half a bottle of honey, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal, right? And it's all about the quantity of it and the quality of the source. Does that make sense? That answer it? Anybody else have anything? Yes. Okay. Not bad. Not terrible. Now, again, it goes back to how much of it are we having? Right? If you're asking me about it because it's in Halo Top ice cream, stop eating it. Agave? Go with honey. Go with honey. Go ahead. You had something else on that, Vicky? Erythritol comes from monk fruit. Cool. Again, in moderation, when you're adding that to a recipe, small amounts, okay. Not something we're going nuts with. Yeah. No, it's better just not to use it. Be an adult. Drink it black. At some point, we become a man, is what I'm saying, Ian. No, so there's different ways, in all seriousness, there's different ways to come away from or get away from using the sugar. Because what's that doing? Especially if you're having that sugar in the morning, you are starting your day the exact opposite way of the way you want to start it. Right? You're putting something in to where the rest of your day, your body's going, hey, I want some more of this stuff. Right? Get away from it if you can. Now, if you can't, try and just cut it to just milk or heavy whipping cream. Right? Something along those lines. Right? Something that's not going to get the blood sugar levels up. If anything, maybe, and this is what kind of helped me, because I used to be that guy. I would stop at 7-Eleven on my way to work. I'll tell you the down and dirty of my worst time in my life, okay, where I was the most unhealthy in my life. I walk into 7-Eleven in the morning, give me a can of Skull Straight from behind the counter, okay? I get a big coffee, you know, the little extra, like, syrupy caffeine things you can put in there. Throw 2 of those in there. Throw some sugar. Right? Throw some cream. We mix that up. Grab a rock star for later. That's how we'd start the day. And now, what I did to get away from that, I was one of those people. I couldn't go, okay, we're going to go cold turkey. I'm going to start drinking black coffee like a grown man, like my daddy told me to, right? That was my dad years ago. I was like, yeah, man, stop putting all that shit in your coffee, right? So what I did was I got stevia, just the drops. Throw a couple drops of stevia in there, and that's how I started doing that with just a little bit of cream, like true cream, not milk. Right, and then from there, I was able to kind of reduce the stevia, and then I got the cream out of there, and now I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy now. Okay? Yes. Long time. I don't, bud. I don't. Now it's one of those things. Part of that's mental, right? Like, you make that switch. It's like somebody that quit smoking. For me, somebody like that chewed. Like, I look at chewing now as gross. I think it's gross. I think it's disgusting because you kind of see it for what it is. And especially when you see a positive benefit from giving something up, your mind kind of goes, huh, that was a dumb shit. I feel better now. I'm not getting this up and down and whatever from that thing that I was taking in. Make sense? Yes. Yeah. Caffeine's okay. Now, can you overdo it? For sure. For sure. Caffeine, to me, it's a supplement. Even whether you're having it from black coffee or you're taking it from a pill or whatever, it's a supplement. And it can be overdone. Like, you see people that, well, who's taken a pre-workout here before, all honesty? I know I have. Right? Mikey, you have. Anything that you take before a workout. So, those things, like, they call them pre-workouts. They have caffeine. They have a bunch of other stuff. And it's, like, basically like having 7 cups of coffee. Right? And it's just an over amount of caffeine. Caffeine shouldn't make you like freak out where you're shaking. It should give you a little bump. You should feel a little energy change from it, right? But that's about it, right? Caffeine's okay. Teas, black coffees, things like that. Yeah, sure, fine. All from natural sources. Great. Okay, but again, in moderation. And know if your body responds negatively to caffeine. Like I said, I was a person that was highly caffeinated when I was younger. And you guys can tell I probably didn't need that. Right? But I had terrible sleep patterns when I was younger too. There's a connection there. I know now, and it took me a long time to figure this out, if I drink coffee, because you guys know I'm an early riser, right? I get up early, I go to bed early. If I drink coffee past, say, 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, it's going to affect my sleep that night. Right? Because coffee's going to stay in your system. Caffeine's going to stay in your system. Whether people tell you, well, I can drink a cup of coffee and go to bed. You can. But it's probably going to fuck up your sleep cycles. That's my brother. And hopefully he watches this. Right? Because he's like, oh, yeah, he prides himself on being able to drink a cup of coffee and knock out, go to sleep. But that same dude tells me that he wakes up, at 2 in the morning and he can't go back to sleep. Is there something going on there? I don't know. Little brother might be smarter than what he thinks. Okay. Any more questions on the caffeine? Nothing. Okay. Cooking with sugar. Foods for muscle growth. Who's trying to get jacked? What are we talking about? Protein. Eat some red meat. Eat some fish. Eat some chicken. Eat some turkey. Protein. Eat some eggs. Protein. You want to lose weight? Eat some protein. You want to gain weight? Eat some protein. And ladies, this isn't like me trying to be a smart ass or be a jerk, but most women undereat protein. Right? I don't know why, but they do. Most women undereat protein. Right? You should be eating protein. Protein does so many good things for the body, which I kind of talked about earlier. But protein also helps you feel full. All right, so if I'm trying to moderate the amount of food that I'm taking in, I'm eating protein. Well, I'm not going to be starving if I'm taking that in, right? Protein also burns hotter in your body. It raises your metabolism. Anybody know that? Right? Your body metabolizes it, burns it, right? uses it up, and it makes your metabolism burn a little hotter. So eat some more protein. Yes. Well, it kind of depends on the person. So a good rule of thumb is take 3/4 of your body weight in protein up to your body weight in protein. Right? Especially if you're training, if you're doing resistance training, weight training. So what are we doing when we train? We're breaking down muscle tissue, right? Who's heard that? Oh yeah, you're tearing muscle and then you're rebuilding. Right? And everybody, like, especially women, get this thought in their head of like, oh, I'm tearing muscle tissue, I'm breaking it down, I'm going to take in this protein, and all of a sudden I'm looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Doesn't work that way, ladies. It doesn't work that way. But it will repair that muscle, right? Help to repair it. And you need a decent amount of it to do that, right? How many of you guys know, men and women, how many of you guys know somebody who trains super hard, right? Trains super hard but doesn't eat a lot of protein. And you look at them and you go, you don't have a lot of muscle, right? I'm sure everybody kind of knows somebody like that, right? They push themselves super hard and the muscles never really grow, right? And the weight on the bar never really goes up. Their body's probably having a hard time repairing. Right? You probably need some more protein. You may actually need some more of your micronutrients too to help that process. Okay? Yeah, bud. Salmon, tuna, swordfish, mahi-mahi, halibut. I'm just naming all kinds of good stuff right now, right? What did you eat down in Paso Robles? Yeah, halibut, yeah. My favorite, go get some sushi, get some hamachi. Oh. Steve's going, hell yeah, sushi zone, huh? Yep, that's my dog. That's my dog, okay? Yeah, man, there's not a whole lot that I wouldn't recommend. I always say stay away from tilapia. Tilapia sucks. You don't get shit out of tilapia. And it's funny, too, because you hear a lot of people like that are trying to lose weight, and I don't want, especially on video, start calling other people out and like get in trouble for it. But there are certain gyms where they recommend diets to people, and they may have like a 6-week challenge. If you lose a certain amount of weight, like you get your money back type of thing and whatever. And the diet that they always recommend is always tilapia, asparagus, broccoli, maybe some iceberg lettuce. And they say, yeah, do this like 3 times a day. It's like, they're going to lose weight because they're eating 700 calories a day. Duh, stupid. And then they're going to gain it back as soon as they become a normal human being again. But the tilapia, there's just not a whole lot there. And most of it is farmed-raised crap. Right? So that's kind of the one that I would say stay away from. Okay? Anything else on that? Yes. Liver. Yeah. Yeah. Who told you that, number one? I want to know who told you. You're going to introduce me to him. I'm going to slap the shit out of him. So liver's how often should you eat something like that? So liver, like I was saying, is one of those foods that is like super duper micronutrient dense. And everybody always thinks like when I say you got to eat liver or you should eat liver, they think I'm talking about like having a dish like liver and onions every day. No. For me, what I like to do, like with beef liver, right, is I'll take beef liver. I'll take a pound of it. And I will throw it in my food processor when it's raw. Okay? And then I just eat it straight. No, I'm just kidding. I'll take it. I'll blend it up. I'll take 3 or 4 pounds of ground beef, and I'll mix it into my ground beef. Now you just took away that liver taste. And then I'll make taco meat. I'll make hamburgers. I'll make I'll make meatballs. Whatever I'd normally make out of that ground beef, I'll do it. Now, that's to get my kid to eat it more than anything. For me, I can take a piece of liver, 4 ounces of it, and just hammer it down. So you don't need a lot of that stuff. Like 4 ounces of liver is going to give you like 1,000% of your daily needed values of a ton of micronutrients. You don't need that much. Little small doses of it here and there are great. Okay? That's okay, just depending on how you're front. Just don't use the vegetable oils and stuff. See you, Andy. Yeah, buddy. Good luck. Good luck to Liam. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, no. No flour, battering, and all that stuff. Now, yeah, use it straight. Maybe pan fry it in a little bit of butter, olive oil. You know, pretty simple. Pretty simple. Cool. Regular grocery store. I bought beef liver yesterday at Nob Hill. Yep, and he carries all of it. He carries all of it. You can go in there, you can get beef heart, brain, and all that good stuff. Yeah. Some tongue, lengua? No, nothing. Everybody, yeah, Mike's going, hell yeah, I'll eat some lengua. What's up, Jay? Uh-huh. Really, really expensive, right? Now, a lot of that has to do with it's a specialty store, number one. So you're always going to pay more at a specialty shop. Number two, you're getting really good quality meat, right? That was one of the coolest gifts I ever got was, everybody chipping in and get me that gift card to the butcher shop because that's not somewhere I'd normally shop. But going in there and buying a ribeye from that place, going home and preparing that, I went, oh, my God. This is amazing. My wife said, you're not allowed to go there. Because it is, yeah, it's expensive. But it's quality meat, too, dude. The quality of the meat, just taste-wise makes a big difference. And that's why they charge so much more. And, again, it's a specialty shop. It's a specialty shop, right? So, it's good stuff. When you want to treat, awesome. Or if you can afford to do that, do it. And that brings me to another point. You're talking about, meat and things like that. People talk, well, do I have to eat organic grass-fed? No. If you can, awesome. Good choice. But try and get what you can afford that's minimally processed meat. Right? If they're adding hormones and stuff to it, don't buy it. Don't buy it. Okay? What else? Protein powders. Yeah, let's talk supplements for 2 seconds. Okay, supplements are exactly that. They're supplements. What I mean by that is, see you later, kitchen chair. Oh, okay. What I mean by that is your diet should not be based around supplements, right? And a lot of people do that wrong, right? Is they're like, oh yeah, well, I see, Mr. Olympia drinks 2 shakes a day. Well, he also eats 5,000 calories worth of good food, right? And I'm just using that as an example, but people will get it in their head that, that's what they need to do. What's the stupid thing you were talking about, Jason? Yeah, whatever he just said. Don't rely on supplements to get your food. Again, whole real food is where we want to be. Now, if you are somebody who is seriously struggling to get that protein intake in, awesome. Find a good protein supplement that is going to give you that little bit of a bump. Right? But again, it's a supplement. We should be doing everything else right before we supplement. Right? Supplements are part of that last little percentage of what we're trying to do correctly in life. That kind of handle that? Cool. I saw somebody's hand over here. John. High fiber. Okay, this is kind of there's a lot of debate right now in the nutrition world about fiber, whether you guys know that or not. You've got people that are strong in the carnivore community that are going, fiber's bullshit. Okay? Now, I say a little bit of fiber, cool. You can overdo fiber. And you know when you overdo fiber. Okay? And that's kind of like I was saying earlier, you people that were saying, oh yeah, I could eat 3 pieces of fruit. You can. But you start to eat 4, 5. You ever eat that much fiber? Your tum-tum isn't going to like that. Now, I say a little bit of fiber. What's fiber do? It kind of binds to, helps pull things through your intestine, right? For me, I just want some of that because I want my intestines and my body to be able to absorb nutrients along the way because that's what it does. Different parts of your intestine break down different things. We absorb different nutrients throughout that process. It doesn't all happen in one place. Everybody always thinks it goes here, it pulls everything out, and I'm done. And then I poop. No, it's one step at a time type of thing, right? And I'm pulling things out along the way. If I take in too much fiber, we bind, we push out. That's why people ask me about like beans. Beans are cool in moderation. I wouldn't eat beans every day, right? I would not eat beans every day, right? And that's why like the paleo community always talks about like stay away from beans because it's going to grab the nutrients and pull everything out of you. Now, it's not that extreme, but that is going to happen a little bit, right? So fiber, I say, yeah, you need fiber, but not a ton, and not a ton of it. Now, honestly, I've done the carnivore thing, right, where I ate nothing but meat or animal products. How long did I do that? About 6 weeks, huh? You don't remember. Thanks for listening. For about 6 weeks, I went fairly strict with this. I was still pooping normal, guys. Now, the size, and I know I'm getting kind of gross here, but the size, probably not as much because that's what fiber does also, right? It kind of expands. Same thing with carbohydrates. The more carbohydrates you eat, probably the bigger poops you get. We're talking about poop today. Okay, but that's kind of what fiber is meant to do, right? Within the human body, at least. That answer it? Yeah, so you need some. You don't have to go batshit crazy with it and eat 90 grams of fiber a day. Cool. What else? What else? No other hands going up. I think I covered everything up here. Is there any? Yes. Food pairings. Say that again. Uh-huh. High fat, high sugar. That is the deadly combination, kids. Anybody know the worst food in the world? Some of you guys have heard me say it before. Anybody know what the worst food in the world is for you? Bread. Somebody else said something? Potato chips. Nacho cheese Doritos. That was fucking specific. Anybody else have a guess? Cheese fries. Okay, Lindsay and Leslie, you guys are pretty much dead on, right? And French fries, potato chips. Why? Because you have something that's highly carbohydrate dense, highly fat dense, and they're both cooked in vegetable oil, right? Vegetable oils, man-made oils are some of the worst things for you. You want to stop your heart, eat that stuff every day. Right? It's terrible for you. Slows down your metabolism. Right? Makes digestion really fucked up. If you are somebody who eats vegetable oils, and this is just kind of on that note, if you're somebody who eats vegetable oils, even in moderation, if you can pull those out of your diet for a month and really pay attention to how you feel, and then reintroduce them after 30 days, tell me what happens. Because most people are going to notice just like that. And this is something that you really have to be conscious of if you're really going to try something like that. Because there's vegetable oils in some way, shape, or form are one of those things that are hidden in a ton of fucking products. A ton of products. Like things you wouldn't even think of have vegetable oil. You're like, what the? Read your labels, kids. Read your labels if you are eating something from a bag or a box. Because I guarantee you it has a lot of filler like that in there. But if you do, you remove that stuff. A lot of people will go back and they'll have something. We talked about reintroduction of food earlier. They will reintroduce something like that, and then all of a sudden, like, dude, I ate that 30 minutes later. I was on the toilet, and, like, bad stuff was happening. Or I was having all this like, intestinal pain, my stomach pain. You know, I felt like crap. I wanted to throw up. A lot of things. A lot of things. Okay? Stay away from that stuff, guys. Stay away from that stuff. What else? It doesn't have to be anything that we were just talking about. Give me some more questions. Yeah. Something that you're going to see from a better diet just besides your energy levels. Okay, so probably better performance in workouts, right? Because you guys are all here at the gym, right? Probably better performance in workouts, better sleep, okay, better mood, better hormones, balanced hormones, right? For sure. For sure. You start to eat good quality food and get your micronutrients dialed in. A lot of times you will see skin start to clear up, right? Your body goes, oh my God, you're giving me what I need. I can do all these things that I'm supposed to do. That's where diets fail a lot of times, right? Is people will do a certain type of diet and they're not getting everything that they need, right? So you have all these different issues going on, right? When your body gets what it needs, it's weird that the things that happen. You start to sleep better. Your body starts to repair better. I feel better. And I'm not saying just by eating right, you're not going to be sore, right? But your body repairs faster after workouts. You feel good. You get stronger. All of a sudden, I'm running faster. I'm lifting more weight. All these different things, dude. It ties into everything. To me, nutrition is the start of everything. Every single thing that you want your body to do. Yeah. Is nutrition more important than working out? Yes, because you're going to do it more times during the day. Right? Now, that doesn't just mean that if I'm trying to gain weight, lose weight, if I eat right, that's going to happen. There still has to be a stimulus there to help that process along, especially if my goal is to have any sort of muscle or gain size, strength, whatever it is. Right? Now, if my goal is just to strictly decrease overall body weight, you can do that through just decreasing calories and good quality foods. Now, that process is going to be a hell of a lot faster if I start to incorporate some sort of movement. Make sense? What else? For sure. For sure. Now, inflammation comes from a lot of different things, right? Technically, when you're sore, your body's inflamed, right? Now, how do we reduce inflammation through food? Well, what are some of the things that drive inflammation, where your body gets more inflamed via food? Sugars, high sugars a lot of times. Dairy, wheat is a big one. Wheat's a big one, right? That's the stuff. Corn is another big one, right? Reducing inflammation, a lot of times people will see huge benefits if that's one of the things, like your body aches. I'm talking aches, constantly. A lot of times that's where a low-carb diet will help, right? Because a lot of times higher sources or higher numbers of carbohydrates, you get more aches and pains because carbs kind of drive inflammation. Right? And that's kind of the same thing with the dairy, is the lactose. Lactose usually is that type of sugar, right, where it's going to drive inflammation. That answer it? Okay. What else, guys? Any other random questions we got? Any other thoughts? Anything? Christy, you had a question I said I would get to. The kid stuff. How should your kids eat? Okay. So let me start just kind of general. Christy is asking about kids. How should your kids eat, and where kids struggle. So number one, your kids should eat how you eat. They are little versions of you. Right? If your kid eats shitty food, right? And I'm not picking on Christy or anything, but if your kid eats shitty food, it's because you're giving it to him. Right? If your kid eats shitty food and then they don't want to eat anything else, it's because you're giving them shitty food. Right? It's just like you. If I give you a candy bar, you're going to want another fucking candy bar. Right? They're little versions of you. Right? So when you are feeding them, feed them the way that you would eat. Now, they're probably not going to eat as wide a variety as you do unless you're really lucky, right? We got really lucky with my kid. My kid will go and eat whatever. Kid eats anything. I got really, really lucky, right? But they're going to eat, or they should be eating what you eat, right? The stuff that you need is what they need. Okay? Like I said, with some exception. Like I would give a kid dairy, like more dairy than I would give an adult. You know, some whole milk, things like that, unless the kid has a weight problem, right? But yeah, they should eat the way that you do. Snacks. We talked about snacks. My thought on snacks is, for kids, for adults, do you really need a snack, or should we just eat a couple bigger meals? Right? A lot of times a snack is a couple different things. It's a craving, number one. Right? Or number two, we're spacing meals. We're getting meals too close together, right? Where it's that, what is it? You get the up and the down. So I got sugar, I came down, I need a snack. I need a snack. Right? Look at the sugar intake of the food that the kids are eating. Right? Just like an adult, you shouldn't have to have 5 snacks a day. Right? Now, is that me telling you, okay, well, you only need to eat 3 square meals? Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but that's usually a good start. 3 or 4 times a day, shut her down. Okay? That kind of answer? Okay, cool. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah. No, it's okay to feel hungry. What's your goal? Yeah, you're going to be a little uncomfortable. It's okay. It's okay. Now, should your hunger overtake your mind and where you're like, oh my God, I need to eat and I'm going to kill somebody if I don't? No, that's not okay. And that's poor Jason. All right? It's okay to be a little bit hungry. It's okay to be a little hungry. It's okay also to have times where you don't eat. Okay? And I'll talk a little bit about this, but fasting. Who's ever done intermittent fasting before? Truly done it. Okay, so intermittent fasting is good. In my opinion, I do it. I've been doing it for 3 years, right? For the most part. Most days, I have a window where I do not eat. Minimum 12 hours. Max 18 to 20 hours. All right, so I have a compressed eating window. Usually, it falls somewhere between, I have about 8 to 10 hours of time of the day where I do eat, on most days. I'm a firm believer in you should have a gap between your last meal and your first meal. Right? That gives your body some time to do its thing, absorb nutrients, push nutrients through, digest food fully, and get everything back on track to where it needs to be before we start overloading it with more shit. Does that make sense? Now, fasting is hard when you first start it because you're going to extend longer period without eating. Most people will tell you, like, okay, I eat right before bed, an hour before bed, I get up, I gotta have something. No, you don't. Drink some fucking water. All right? It's okay to have a little bit of time. My favorite, and I know I can probably look around here and half of you guys have said this to me before, people that come to the morning workouts. Well, I didn't have anything today, I just can't work out. You're full of shit. I do that every single day. Okay, you don't have to have food an hour or 2 hours before you work out to be able to perform. You don't. You have enough calories on your body. If I didn't feed you for fucking 3 months, you could survive. I'm not kidding. You do. Every single person here. I mean, as long as we're taking in some water, you could survive. Okay? I don't want you to do that. Okay? But you could. Okay? Your body can do that. It can use what it already has on it, that stored fat, to survive, to thrive. It takes some adjustment and getting used to, though. Right? It's a difficult thing to get used to. It definitely is. Especially if you're talking to somebody who used to have to, I got to eat an hour before I work out or else I'm going to have a bad workout today. Right? It took me a long time to switch gears from that to like that last race that we did. It was 20 miles into the race before I had something to eat that day. So it's possible. It's doable. Right? It just takes time for your body to get used to pulling those energy sources where it needs it. Make sense? So it's okay to have gaps in between, to feel a little bit hungry. Just take some time to get used to and Tell your body, hey, shut up. You're not hungry. Okay. Any questions on fasting or anything like that? Nothing. Anybody have any more questions for me before we shut it down? Don't be afraid to ask. Now is your chance. Nothing. Nothing. Yep. If I was going to start fasting, I would look at what you are currently doing, right? Look at what you're doing now and increase that gap by 2 hours. Right? So say I'm going 8 hours right now without food. My next would go 10. Then increase to 12. Then 14, and then at most 16. For most people that's plenty. Okay? That's plenty. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I'd hope so if it's not till lunchtime. Unless we're eating and calling it dinner at midnight. Yeah. Yep. I want it. Yep. But get the right foods in instead of cheese fries. So, okay, so number one, first thing I would do, like I said, like I recommend to everybody, start with the Whole30. WHOLE30.com. Fantastic start, right? Because at least that's going to get you eating some foods that, most foods that are whole real foods. Get you on the right track. Make sure that you're getting decent amount of proteins, carbs, fats, and the micronutrients to take in some good food and see if we can balance things out within the body. Because usually with what you got going on, something's off somewhere, right? We got hunger hormones that are fucked up, right? Along with who knows what else. How's your sleep? We got an imbalance in hormone, right? And when I say hormones, I'm not just talking about like the hormones everybody thinks of, like testosterone and things like that. I'm talking like hunger hormones, your hormones as far as like sleep go that regulate, and your body telling you, okay, Ian, it's getting dark out now. It's time to go to sleep. Sun's coming up. It's time to wake up, right? That's where we get those things balanced with your circadian rhythms. And a lot of that comes from the food that you're taking in, right? And it takes some time to figure that out. So again, start basic with whole real foods, like something like the Whole30, and see what happens, right? But it takes a little bit of time there. It's not something where I can go, I want you to eat ground beef and potatoes, and 2 days from now you're going to be fucking feeling great. You know what I mean? It's going to take a little bit of time. Yep, for sure. But yeah, we, start with the good foods, see if we can get things to start to balance out. Right? Yep. So usually it takes about 3 weeks. And if you've ever done the Whole30 before and you follow their timeline, you notice like right at week 3, they're like, it's weird shit. They're like, oh yeah, tiger's blood and I'm going to be feeling, yeah. And that's true because that's at the point where it's like you start to feel the effects of things start to get better, right? And your body's starting to like thrive off of the decent food that you're putting in it. So usually about 3 weeks, just to start to feel something. You really want to ingrain, bless you, who was that? Bless you. So usually if you really want to ingrain something though and make it a habit, it's got to last for about 3 months. Everybody always says 21 days to make or break a habit. It's longer than that. It was like a proven study that they just did. I want to say it was like 60-something or 70-something days. So I always say about 3 months before you really start to ingrain things. So if you do Whole30, then after 30 days, say fuck it. That's what a lot of people do. You're not ingraining those habits after the 30 days. Keep it up. Keep it up for about 3 months. Okay? Yep. So I prep my food for about 4 or 5 days at a time, like with it at our house. So how often do I go to the grocery store? For me, it's a little bit different than most people since I do food prep for others. If I did not, I would say probably twice a week. Twice a week, maybe 3 times because sometimes I forget little things here and there, right? But I usually prep food for our household, just my house, a couple times a week. And I prep as much as I can in advance, right? Now, a lot of times it's nice to be able to have food fresh off the stove. You guys know where I'm at for dinner time. That only happens probably once or twice a week, right? Because if I'm not there to cook it, my wife's not cooking it. Let's be real, okay? And she'll be the first one to tell you, like, we eat what he cooks. So I am prepping almost everything in advance except for a couple meals here and there that I will make on the fly for when we're going to have, Sunday dinner at my house or Saturday dinner at my house, things like that. No, because I prep. I plan for it. At least my next day is thought out. Like, I'll walk over to my fridge, right? And I got a plan for 3 people at my house. Me, the wife, the kid. I'll open up the fridge, and I do all the cooking. Open up the fridge, okay, here's what we're having. Okay, tomorrow, you got 8 pieces of chicken here. You got some of this here, whatever. Okay, tomorrow, I don't have enough. I better pick something up on my way home from the gym in the morning to prep food to have for dinner that night, right? But I'm trying to stay a couple days ahead, right? And that's key, man. No matter what you're doing, food prep, being prepared, that's half the battle. Because I don't care who you are, what type of food you eat, what type of diet you do, whatever it is, if you're not prepped, planned out, you're going to fuck up. You are. I don't care who you are. You're going to be hungry enough at some point, you're like, I'll bust out that Wendy's drive-thru or DoorDash and whatever you do. Okay? Whatever it is, right? Like for me, if I'm not prepped or planned, because it does happen, that's where In-N-Out comes in. In-N-Out Burger's my best friend. Like I said, you guys know I eat a lot of protein, a lot of meat, right? I'll go there, I'll get some lettuce wrapped, 4x4s, a couple, 3 or 4 of those. Yeah, so plan it, prep it, put some thought into it. Okay, what else, guys? Nothing? Nothing? We cover everything? All right, guys. Yes. I don't. How do you not get bored with eating the same food? Now, I will have, as you guys know, like I cook certain proteins, right? And that's what people, order from me, meal prep. I cook those certain proteins. I can rotate through proteins, and everything I do around that protein changes it up. I can take, like, what I just make, smoked chicken. I'd take that smoked chicken and eat it with 10 different sides or different things just to make it different. Right? Like, there have been times in my life, depending on what I'm doing, where I am that regimented, where it's like, I will literally make 20 meals in advance for 4 days, right? And it's like, okay, I have each individual container of what I'm going to eat. I don't food prep that way. I make my protein. I may have some veggies prepped, whatever. And then from there, it's like the carbs or the fats, what you're eating with that protein, is easy to change, interchangeable, right? Just, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but if I take a protein, right, who's to say that the side that goes with that protein has to be the same for 7 meals? It can be 2 here, 2 here, 3 there, like, okay, what do you like? What do you like that's good? Let me, okay, so potatoes, sweet potatoes, there's 10 different recipes you could do for a potato. There's 10 different ones you could do to change flavor profile, the way you're cooking it. Like, it doesn't have to be, I'm going to have potato again. I'm going to stick this in the oven. See you in 2 hours to get my baked potato. That's how long it takes to bake a fucking potato. Right? Not that long, but they take forever, it seems like, right? But you could do that potato. You could dice it up. You can do it in a pan with some butter. You can slice them up, bake them different ways. There's a million different recipes out there. I switch up all the different types of protein all the different types of vegetables that I eat, right? It's for her. So mix up the vegetables that you're eating. Just because I say eat vegetables, everybody always goes, oh man, I gotta have broccoli and Brussels sprouts again. Give me a fucking vegetable. Go to the produce section, look around, grab something different. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to grab something different. Don't be afraid to use a different type of seasoning. Bless you. A lot of times, switching the seasoning up on what you're cooking is going to change that flavor profile, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is the best potato I've ever had. It's just because it's different and you put a different seasoning on it. Okay? Okay, time out. Time out. All of a sudden, depends on how we're eating. Right? Depends on how we're eating. We talked about potatoes and sweet potatoes, and all of a sudden Chrissy said rice, now you said rice. Okay? Well, then what the fuck are you talking about rice for then? Well, fuck him, we're talking about you. So, you can do, there's a million different things you can do. And again, it depends on what the breakdown of food is that you're eating. If you're eating more carbohydrates and you're having rice, cool. There's different types of rices you can eat. Quinoa, things like that. Sure, fine, great. There's different ways to flavor your rice, different ways to flavor your potatoes. Yeah, other than that, guys, it's about it. What else do you need? And here's the thing too, is people start asking questions like this, and I'm going to be a smart ass for a second. There's the Google machine on the interwebs. Now, what I'm saying by that is, you have a rough idea of the foods that you know that you should be eating. Look up a fucking recipe. Look at recipes, right? There's a ton of recipes out there that are good and healthy. Instead of me standing up here and go, take your potatoes, take your rice, do it this, right? And really though, look at recipes. Look at recipes for the food that you want, right? Like we're talking about potatoes. I want potatoes and chicken. Go to Google, put in chicken potato recipe. You're going to have 500 of them that come up. Instead of me going, well, you should put salt and pepper and garlic, you know what I mean, up here right now. Honestly, go look. All that information is out there. Nobody just wants to look, right? They want me to throw out a new magical food to them. Right? There's no magic shit, guys. There's no magic food other than the nutrient dense stuff that we were talking about. Right? If you want to know how to pair that stuff together or whatever, look up some recipes. I have a ton of recipes, but it would take me a long time to stand up here and just start throwing stuff out. I have a ton of stuff, Christy. If I remember to, I will try and post some for you. Okay? And if you guys do, honestly, if you go to my Darrell Lutz Fitness Instagram, if you were to scroll back through there probably is 20 or 30 recipes on there because I know Mike's pulled some from there. There's probably 20 or 30 recipes that I've thrown up on there over the last couple years. All right? Like I said, there's recipes everywhere, though. Recipes everywhere. It just doesn't have to be my recipes. Rachel Ray is pretty cool, too. All right? What else? Anything else, guys? You always wait until I say, okay, nobody else, and then Lindsay goes, give me one of these. Anything else? Tyler, what do you got? Show up and find out. You got to show up and find out. Anything else? All right, couple hundred burpees on Monday for Tyler. Couple hundred burpees. All right, guys, thank you guys very much for coming.